fair. Fair enough. Lovely. Lovely. And before we get to other results, just want to touch on this just because we have our special guest here. I think we already know where I'm going with this. Sheffield 2, Chelsea 2. In the past two games, in past two out of the last three games Chelsea have played, they have led
Mm.
and they have given up leads to relegation struggling sides, both home and actually,
You can throw Manu
I
in
think
there
they were both
too.
away. No, Man U,
Nah,
Man
no,
U.
but we gave up a lead in that game as
Yeah,
well.
that's what that's what I'm going with it, and I'm like, obviously, okay, yeah, even against mine too, but
Yeah.
you guys ended up winning that one, so I'm not looking at it. So after the win against United, you look at this fixture and you're like, Chelsea should 100% win this. Like, there's nothing that should stop them from not winning this, right? And then they come to Sheffield, they score the first goal, and then Sheffield literally take over the game. Like, Sheffield actually dominated that game. Chelsea are lucky not to have lost that game. And then they consider the first goal. Then Madueke comes and scores the what a goal by him, by the way.
Yeah.
Just that was a
Fantastic
goal.
finish.
That was a finish. And then they concede last minute to Oliver McBurney. How worried should this? I mean, what is the cause of this inconsistency? Is it because the team is too young? Is it because they are too inexperienced? Is it as a Chelsea fan? What do you see? Because obviously, if you say if they are too young, then how long should we keep giving them the excuse of they are too young or they are all new and they are trying to gel type of thing?
I don't really believe in that excuse of they're too young. Obviously, I don't blame Poch for that because they are. I think that is true, but ultimately the club decided to bring in these young players, and that's what we have. So we can't keep saying they're too young. Now that they're here, now they just have to perform. But for me, I really look at Poch because some of his substitutions. I mean, because you talk about that last minute goal. Before that happens, he brings on Badiashile and Cesare Casade, right? And when you look at that goal, Casade gets beat. They cross it in. Badiashile misses the header. They score. So immediately, both of his subs are directly the cause of the two. And even before that, he takes off Palmer and he takes off Mattaway. And this isn't the first time this season where he's taken off our best attacking players in a game that's still 1-0. And, they come back and all of a sudden we lose that attacking threat because you take off Palmer, you take off Madueke, and now all of a sudden they have nothing to think about. There's no threat going the other way. They can start pouring people forward because they know that now there's no one really up there that's going to cause them any problems. Like Palmer really is our attacking threat this season. So once you take Palmer off, I think Madueke is again. I think he hasn't played a lot, but I think he's been good this season. And so now you take off what were are really the only two threats we had that game. And I thought maybe Palmer was injured because there was a big tackle that they were lucky to not get a red for. But Poch says after the game, no, he wasn't injured. It wasn't injury. He wanted to give him a rest, and I'm like, I don't know how big of a difference in 20 minutes off in a game where we should be winning, but I don't know I don't think you have the liberty, the luxury of taking that risk in a game like that, especially with where we are in the season. Because you look at those two games, right? And if Chelsea don't drop points, if we beat Burnley and we beat Sheffield, who we're up on, we're tied with points with Manchester United right now, and with a game in hand, we're 1 point behind them in the table. And that's really the thing. You look at where we are in the table, and it's you win 3 games in a row. All of a sudden, you're in a completely new position. Going in before this, we were 12th. Now we're ninth, even though we dropped points against two of those teams. And it's like it doesn't take a lot. You don't have to. Just beating the teams that you should be able to. That you should be beating. You should be beating Sheffield, worst team in the league. You should be beating Burnley, second worst team in the league. If you can just beat the teams that you should beat, you rise up the table very quickly.
Mm. It's by Chelsea. They are our banter team. We joke a lot with Chelsea.
Head lost side of that game. Just Pochettino, popped out. That's all I can say. I think you're muted.
I think he's muted, yeah, or something.
I say it's about Chelsea. They perform when the stakes are high.
That's
When I
very
mean
true.
stakes are
That's
high,
very
I
true.
mean like when they're playing against a big squad. You saw that performance against City in both fixtures,
Yep.
against Liverpool,
Asta.
against Man U, against Arsenal,
Spurs, even.
Spurs as well. But when you play last place in the league, Sheffield United, you forget how to play football, which is to me, I think, is a thing of the players being too comfortable. Because when you're not comfortable, when you're out of your comfort zone, that's against the big club, you perform. When you're in your comfort zone against small club, then you don't perform. I think it's not a matter of Pochettino out. I think it's the Chelsea side. I think his mindset. Yes, Pochettino has made some terrible substitutions, but if Chelsea don't have faith in their young players, also like bring in some additions to build up the back line, so on and so forth, they will become a second Manchester United as we not even a second Manchester United, but it was worse than what Manchester United is going through. Don't get me wrong, Chelsea have been going through it as well. Ever since the little Russian war with Ukraine, that was like the starting of the downfall of Chelsea. Because
Mm.
Abramovich he left, then they brought in a close to a madman as a as an owner. Don't get me wrong, he is close to being mad. You know, signed a TikTok star for 100 million, which is shocking. Shocking.
62 million, but
Pretty sure it's 100 million.
nah, I'm pretty sure. Who are we talking about here? Because there's too many
Modric.
of them for me to count now.
Too many TikTok stars,
Too
clearly.
many of them. Too many of
Modric,
them.
Modric to be precise.
62 million pound.
Or
It could
Modric.
rise up to 88, but with the way we're looking, I don't think we're going to win the Champions League anytime soon. I don't think we'll win the Prem anytime soon. So until then, he's 62 million.
Oh, I agree to disagree, but okay. You signed a TikTok star, Modric. You signed. They had some good signings. They had Sterling. Sterling should be a prospect, but there's no quality around him.
I had high expectations for him when he was
Yeah,
originally
100%.
bought.
But like, there's no quality around him. There's no supply. There's no that standout fixture in that standout person in the midfield. Don't get me wrong, Palmer is there, but Palmer is a good player, a very good player. But like for Pep Guardiola to not play a certain talent, there are reasons to that. Reasons like maybe this player cannot perform without people around him, or maybe he can only perform with bad people around him. You know, whatever, whatnot. Palmer has been performing in Chelsea because there are bad people around him. He's the point of focus. Don't get me wrong. He's a good player. I'm not taking anything away from him. He's the point of focus. He's not even Sterling anymore. Now it's Cole Palmer. Cole Palmer is the watchword. Um, there's no spark in their defense. Their keeper, Jesus Christ. And yeah, I don't think it's a thing of Pochettino. I think it's what he has had to work with. Because don't get me wrong, he has had the money, he has the money, but at the same time, Chelsea are under the risk of an FFA if they overspend now because of the amount of young people they have there scored, this and that. And I feel that they're trying to build for the future with the young players. You know, they're trying to like build a good squad, just like what Real Madrid is doing right now. Have a squad for the future, 4 years time, 3 years time. That's what they should do. But I don't think those are the players you want in the future. You don't want Madueke, you don't want Michael Jackson. Sorry, Nicolas Jackson. You don't.
It's crazy coming from so horrible up front for them.
But yeah, he is Chelsea. He is Chelsea. You know, I've already predicted that they're coming 10th place this season, which I don't think I'm going back from my prediction. But he is Chelsea. What can I say?
Yeah. Yeah,
I
and
mean,
when you look, no,
okay,
go
go
to go
ahead.
to no, no, go, go.
I was just gonna say I can kind of agree with the Poch sentiment. Like for me, Poch isn't the right man for the job, but I don't think like he hasn't been given the tools to succeed because we talk about money, but the thing is when the problem with like our spending is that it wasn't under one manager. It was 300 million under Tuchel, who they fired 2 weeks into the season. It was another under Potter, who they fired a month after they spent three. I think it was 300, 400 million in that winter window. They sacked him a month after that. Then Poch comes in. Again, it's not. They're not really bringing in, like, the club has transfer targets. So the club has a policy already. And Pochettino actually disagreed with the policy during the summer. But so for me, Pochettino he's not the main problem at Chelsea, but he's one of the problems. I think the problems are all stemming from the ownership and with the policies that we have going, like this focus on young players, this under 25 requirement.